Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Mad Meta Magic. 2 in a row, because I really messed up the recording schedule. But somebody on one of my recent videos, oh gosh, I really should know this. Let's see, Devin Bashant, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Devin, gave me this list that was Izzet Tron, leveraging the versatility of River Glide pathway to get blue or to get red, splashing red for lightning bolts in the main and pyroclasms. So there's a couple things going into this list that I think I like that I didn't consider, and there's a couple of things going into this list that I'm a little hesitant about. Now, I like that we have onboard interaction with the form of Lightning Bolt and Reach, potentially hitting Planeswalkers and opponent's face and stuff like that. Could be good. I also like Gifts Ungiven, though I will admit right off the bat, I am a little bit hesitant to use Gifts as a strictly value card like it's intended to be. I am not very good at choosing Gifts piles, but we will see if my Battle of Wits training has paid off. And I'm a little hesitant to the fact that we only have 2 Karn Great Creators instead of the full 4, because I think this card is very good. This is something I tend to see with blue Tron lists, is they try to diversify threats a lot. And for me, that has not worked out, but we will see if Devin's list does in fact have game in the current modern metagame. I think it's going to be fun regardless. Even if I take it and get totally trashed, it'll be a fun league to play. So Devin, I hope you enjoy this league, and let me know what you think in the comments below. So without any further ado, I actually have to pause the recording because I did not purchase enough tickets to enter another league. I'll be right back. Alrighty, here we go. Round 1 with Izzet Tron. We would like to play first. We do have Natural Tron, well not Natural Tron, but turn 3 Tron into Wormcoil, which I do like. We can follow this up with a Treasure Mage to go get something big and nasty, like a Platinum Empyrean if we wanted to, or a Platinum Angel, or Mindslaver. Kind of depends on what we have mana for and what we draw, and also what we're playing against. So let's see what Spooky Island here is playing. Alright, it's a Mystic Sanctuary deck, so I'm kind of expecting a lot of counter spells. We draw mana for a Repeal, so play Urza's Tower, pass the turn. We will be going to get an Urza's Mine. Okay. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand. So we'll go get Mine. Untap. We draw another Urza's Mine. So play Urza's Mine. Yeah, I think I am just going to run out of Wormcoil. There's pretty good chance we get mana leaked or remanded here. Okay, it's a remand. That's fine. So if we could top deck our own counter magic, like a Condescend here, we could play an island and then protect Wormcoil from like an Archmage's Charm or something similar. This could be Mono Blue Delver. It could also be the Izzet Control variant that kind of exists right now. Problem is my opponent is going to be expecting me to replay Wormcoil Engine. I think I'm going to play an island and pass, leaving up Reveal / Thirst for Knowledge. See what our opponent does on our end step here. Archmage's Charm to draw, that's fine. So the nice thing about being blue Tron versus this deck as opposed to green Tron is we will have instant speed stuff we can play around on our opponent's end step. Okay, they Mystic Sanctuary and Archmage's Charm to the top of their deck. If they pass, I am not casting anything because they have 8 cards in hand. I want them to just discard if they're going to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to play anything. So we know they have Archmage's Charm on top of their deck. They are representing Cryptic Command, and they just discarded Lightning Bolt, which does show they are on the, what do you call it? Izzet control list instead of just like Mono Blue or anything like that. I could go for a main phase Thirst for Knowledge here. I think I'm just going to play a second island and pass, though. If my opponent does something on our end step, we could Thirst in response. Cryptic Command, they're going to bounce a land and draw. Okay, let's go ahead and Thirst. So we can discard either 2 cards or we can discard Wormcoil. I don't think Wormcoil is going to be super useful against our opponent, so I am going to just discard the Wormcoil. I actually have to discard to hand size, so maybe I should have discarded 2 cards. I could also Gifts Ungiven my opponent. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think Repeal is fine here. They're playing like they have a second... I'm going to discard Trinket Mage. They're playing like they have a second Cryptic command to bounce another land to keep us off of Tron. Or like they're going to start a Cryptic loop or something like that. Which would be bad. Okay. So Cryptic command on top of our opponent's deck. We untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Play Urza's Tower. Pass the turn. I'm going to go for a Gifts Ungiven on my opponent's end step, I think. I could go for a Gifts in response to like another Cryptic, because we know they have a Cryptic on top of their deck. Okay. I decline doing anything on our end step. They play a Scalding Tarn, and they pass. I'm going to go for the Gifts here. This is probably scary enough they got to do something about it. Okay, they're going to let that go through. I don't know if we have anything big and uncounterable here is the problem. So we can just go for like... We don't have anything uncounterable, which would be awesome. We can just go like for Remand, Condescend, Thirst, and... I don't actually want to get a threat. I just kind of want interaction to stop my opponent's counterspells. I guess I can get the other gifts here as well. So let's see what they give us. Opponent seems a little confused by the pile. They give us Condescend and Remand. Alright, so we untap. We draw Riverglide Pathway. I don't think we need the red source right now. I'm probably just going to discard it to hand size. So I'm going to play Riverglide Pathway, even though I'm holding another Tron piece. And I'm going to discard Lightning Bolt. Opponent is stuck in the awkward situation of, like, only having small threats. They're going to Cryptic to bounce our Urza's Tower. Do I want to fight over this? Kind of. I guess it's only a problem... No, I'm going to fight over this with a Condescend. So, counter it unless they pay 3. Now we have a Remand for something else. This does put it in the grave, but that would force them to get their 4th Mystic Sanctuary if they've got it, and force them to draw Cryptic Command again. Okay. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn first to get a Steam Vents untapped. Opponent is remanding their Cryptic Command. I don't know if I want to completely tap out, because I could remand my Condescend, and then Condescend Cryptic, but then I'm out of, like, answers. How do I want to respond to this? I could remand their Remand, too. That actually might be safer, because Remand is not that big of a deal for us. Okay, we draw another Urza's Tower, and we counter the Cryptic. Island, Blast Zone. I'm going to bottom both of these. Okay. Now we're still representing a counterspell, which is what our opponent has been like playing around for a long time. But they don't... If they're the deck that I think they are, which is just the blue-red like control counter deck, they don't really have any good proactive things they can do to us. So we're going to play an Urza's Tower, cast a Wormcoil Engine, Archmage's Charm to counter. Alright, pass the turn. Yep, they're scared. They're playing scared. That's actually super good for us, because we don't really have anything right now. Okay, we draw another Power Plant, so play the Power Plant. We're going to start with a Treasure Mage. Treasure Mage is going to get us... kind of want a Mindslaver, but I'm not going to cast it yet. Actually, am I? Yeah, let's cast a Mindslaver. This is like a must-counter threat. Alright, Snapcaster Mage. Probably for Cryptic. For Archmage's Charm, this is so they could leave up a Remand. Okay. And they counter, and we pass. Opponent bolts our Trinket Mage, or Treasure Mage, sure. Well, I should look at the sideboard again, so I'm kind of like keeping in mind what we have that we can draw here. Okay. Opponent goes to combat, attacks for 2. That's fine. We untap. We draw an island. So play an Urza's Mine. Attempt to Karn. Another Snapcaster. Okay. Snapcaster hitting Cryptic Command. Okay. This means that my opponent is going to tap out of the remand they have in hand. Counter draw, that's fine. So now play Karn. Let's go ahead and wish. And get... kind of want to get Walking Ballista. If I had one more mana, I would get Mindslaver. Actually, have I played a land this turn? I think I have. Because I think it was the Urza's Mine. Yep. Okay. So we're gonna go get Walking Ballista. Put Ballista on 3. We could put it on 4. That would be reasonable. Put it probably bolts Karn here. Or they could bolt Ballista. Kill Snap. Kill Snap. And if they try to bolt Ballista, I'm going to repeal Ballista to draw. Okay, they opt. Sure. Opponent untaps. Kind of wish we had had Sundering Titan. I mean, that's minimal. It probably would get countered, but a big 7/10 is difficult for them to answer, and we would have taken out their lands mostly. Okay, opponent plays Jace. Brainstorms with Jace. Plays a Scalding Tarn, cracks it, gets a Mountain, and they are going to Abrade Ballista. So, attempt to repeal. If their only counter is Remand, that just forces us to spend 1 more blue. And if they let us pick up this Ballista, we can play a huge Ballista into no counter magic. Because the only counter spell they have that would deal with it is Remand if we recast it. And we have enough mana, we could recast it for 3 twice to take out Jace. Or we could cast it for 3, put a counter on it, and then shoot down Jace. Okay, we draw an island, Abrade fizzles. An opponent is going shields down to cast Magmatic Sinkhole? Okay, to kill Karn. That's fine, because now we know our opponent will not be countering Walking Ballista, and we can just play a big Ballista. We untap, we draw a repeal, so play an island. And we'll play Ballista X7. Ping down Jace. Because we can't let him untap with that. Pass the turn. This is really awesome. We're playing like a super attrition deck right now. And we can buy it back again with repeal. That feels super sweet. Alright, well. I am going to put this in bolt range just because I do want the extra damage. And I'm going to try to repeal, basically forcing them to have the bolt. If we can repeal Walking Ballista, we can fizzle Cryptic Command here, which is nice. If they bolt, we just ping them for 1 more. Nice. So Cryptic Command fizzles, opponent does not draw a card. And then they play a Blood Moon, which at this point of the game actually kind of helps us, because we are playing Lightning Bolts. We also have enough mana that we can just hard cast this Mirror Battlesphere, which I really like. Get him, Battle Ball. Yeah, wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry. Sorry for the mic peak there. That was not intentional. That like really picked me up for some reason. My bad. And now it's super quiet. What is wrong with my mic? It must be picking up some kind of like background noise and filtering on it. I have no idea what that would be though, so I will work on that. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to figure it out yet. Okay, so versus our opponent's deck, we could take Aether Gust, because my opponent does play red permanents, and putting red spells like Lightning Bolt back on top of their deck might be worth it. But I don't actually think we adjust any of these spells. I think we run it back exactly as it is. It's kind of bad that we don't have a sideboard for this, but that's the price of having a wishboard. Alright. I will keep a natural Tron hand. We can map for an island, I suppose. So we will start Power Plant map. I think it was interesting that our opponent played so scared of us, because there was, like... There's always the possibility that my opponent just had, like, a ton of counterspells stuck in hand and couldn't do anything with them. And so, like, their best proactive play was, to just, like, try and bounce our lands. But it didn't feel like they had a whole lot going on. Alright. Opponent plays a Mystic Sanctuary tapped. They're probably trying to line up a Cryptic here. I'm gonna go with Riverglide Pathway, Treasure Mage. If this gets remanded, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So from here, we're going to be on 8 mana. I think I'm going to get Battlesphere again. Battlesphere is one of those things that if it resolves, my opponent's going to have a lot of trouble dealing with. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. We draw an Urza's Mine, go to combat, attack for 2. I think my opponent has a Cryptic Command, so we're just going to play like they do. Okay, we hit them for 2. Play Urza's Tower, pass the turn. I'm probably just going to Thirst, Because there's no reason for us to play into counter magic right now. I also like this deck because I have an excuse to run the promo River Glide pathway I got out of a treasure chest. The opponent snaps a Braid to kill Trinket Mage. I'm fine with that. Yep. You got it. Okay, opponent untaps, they draw, and looks like they are going to attack. Sure. We go down to 18. So we'll go ahead and Thirst for Knowledge. So we are going to discard 2 cards. We're going to discard... Oh, man. I don't want to discard Battlesphere. I want to protect Battlesphere. So I need to keep a land. I'm going to discard Gifts and Lightning Bolt, I think. We untap. Draw Condescend. So play an Urza's Tower. And we're going to go with Battlesphere. If all they have is Cryptic, they're going to be sad. Okay, they would need a Force of Negation at this point. So, Condescend, Cryptic Command. They do have a Force of Negation, pitching Spell Snare. Okay, this opponent is back up to 3 cards in hand. However, next turn we will have a Karn, Great Creator, followed up with a Condescend for backup. And then if that doesn't work, we have Trinket Mage for Walking Ballista to make a huge Ballista. Opponent plays a tapped Steam Vents, which probably means they do not have double Counterspell. Because if they did, it would be like Archmage's Charm plus... something else. Could play Urza's Tower to just never have to deal with permission-based counterspells, but I think it's better to play out the Urza's Mine here. We do get 1 less mana this turn, but I think that's fine. Okay, opponent has an Archmage's Charm, so we're going to go ahead and try and counter with Condescend. X2. And then if this works, we can just Island to the bottom, Platinum Angel to the top. If this works, I'm just going to play Wormcoil Engine out of the side. Walking Ballista might technically be safer, but Wormcoil gives us value even if it dies. Okay, pass the turn. Okay, opponent Snapcaster Mage for Cryptic Command. Their best play might be to just like tap Wormcoil or repulse Wormcoil and then attack Karn, which is pretty anemic. So they bounce and draw. Hit Karn for 2 down to 1, so we can't wish this turn. We are top decking Platinum Angel. So play Urza's Tower, uptick Karn, Trinket Mage. I think we're going to put Walking Ballista on 3, and then play Wormcoil. Man, that was brutal! This deck was sweet. We did what our opponent was doing and better. It felt like we were the control deck versus a control deck, and that felt amazing. So I'm really eager to keep playing this. Sorry I doubted it. Even if that's the only good match like that we have, that was still sick. So I'll see you guys in round 2. Alrighty. Round 2, here we go. We would like to play first, yes. I mean, I'm not going to turn this hand down. Natural Tron, plus map, plus gifts. So we'll start Urza's Mine Expedition map. Pass the turn. Ideally, we would like to draw a another Tron land, I imagine. Shriekhorns, this is Dredge. Okay. Second lightning Bolt, I think, means I'm going to Expedition map for Lava Glide pathway. Okay. Opponent does not mill themselves in any dredgers. In their first 2 mills with Shriekhorn. They play another Shriekhorn. Now it is a matter of time. They hit Life from the Loam. Play a Mountain. Okay, hang on. Let me view sideboard. This one is playing Relic, which is fine. We also have Pyroclasm, potentially post sideboard, depending on what my opponent's threats are. So we are going to crack Expedition map. And let's see, Academy Ruins, Blast Zone, Field of Ruin. I think we take River Glide pathway. Untap. We draw Repeal. I'm going to play Lava Glide pathway, and then focus on getting Tron next turn. I want to have access to Lightning Bolt. Opponent cycles Forgotten Cave to dredge up Life from the Loam. They do not hit an additional dredger, so they mill themselves on their upkeep into a Bloodghast and Conflagrate. Mill themselves again to a Golgari Thug and a Stinkweed Imp. Okay, they mill a Narcomoeba, which will reanimate a Prized Amalgam. They now Life from the Loam, probably picking up Forgotten Cave and Couple of fetch lands. Oh, they're going to play an Ox. Okay. So Ox is going to have them discard their hand and then draw 3 cards. They did discard a couple of Creeping Chills, I think. But this is a big dredge for them. If we could top deck an Ugin, that would be awesome. Yeah, maybe I should have just gone for the Tron play and then set up for like a Gifts next turn. But I really felt like I needed Bolt here. So my opponent is going to get back 2 Amalgams. And we are going to Lightning Bolt the Ox. Okay, we untap. We draw Wormcoil Engine. Wormcoil here is really good. That is a must-deal-with big threat. And it should hold them off at least a little bit. So this turn we do have Lightning Bolt to help mitigate our opponent's damage. My opponent does have Conflagrate in the grave. So they can kill the front half of Wormcoil, or they can kill the tokens it creates, if they can kill it a different way. So opponent goes to the draw step and dredges. If they loam this turn, they can't get us down into Bloodghast haste range. So we're going to block this Prized Amalgam. We gain 1 life from that attack. Opponent plays a land, they're going to reanimate their Bloodghasts. Or they're just reanimating Ox again. Conflagrate X4, splitting the damage with Wormcoil. Doesn't look like they have another Conflagrate. Alright, well Wormcoil dies. We go back to our starting life total and my opponent has no hand. So on their end step, Bolt Prized Amalgam. We untap. We draw a Thirst for Knowledge. Is it better to Gifts here, or is it better to Thirst? I think it's better to Thirst. We still have 6 mana. Yeah, I think it's better to Thirst. Okay, we have to discard 2 cards. Remand is not going to be very useful. Second Thirst might be, but I think next turn I just want a Gifts. I can't play anything else this turn. I'm going to attack to gain life here, to go up to 20. My opponent should not be able to make hasty Bloodghasts in any way that I understand right now. So they Creeping Chill us. This is not a version of Dredge that is playing Silver Smote Ghoul. They loam. We play a Copperline Gorge and reanimate 4 Bloodghasts and 2 Prized Amalgams. And they will be able to attack for 2. Okay. So we take 2. We go to 15. Opponent gets a bunch of Prized Amalgams. We untap. We draw a Riverglide Pathway. So we will have 6 mana post Gifts. So I don't think my opponent has any kill spells they can play from the grave. I don't know if they have a second Conflagrate. We do have Platinum Angels and stuff. We're going to start Gifts. Okay, so with 6 mana left for the turn, one of the cards should definitely be Wormcoil. We could take Engineered Explosives and kill all 2 drops, because that would kill all the Bloodghasts and the Narcomoebas. They could get them back quickly, but I could get a Lightning Bolt, though I don't think that one does enough. We could put like an Urza's Tower and then 2 more expensive threats that we could play next turn, maybe. Or we could get Karn. This is kind of tough. This is one reason why I'm not good at playing Gifts. I could play Walking Ballista on 3, then block and snipe 3 Bloodghasts. That would be an okay result. I can pick Ugin, and then I could pick, like, Karn. Ugin doesn't do anything this turn, though, which is, I think, what we're looking for a little bit more. Well, they have to give us 2 cards. What's in our sideboard again? Relic. We have 6 mana, so we could play and crack Relic. So we'll do Karn, and then we have 1 more choice to make. I could do Trinket or Treasure Mage here. Let's do Trinket Mage, because then... No, Trinket Mage actually doesn't work. I was going to say we could hide Engineered Explosives, basically, under Trinket Mage. I guess the last pick can be Ugin. Opponent doesn't... We haven't played a land yet, so opponent doesn't know if we've got mana for this or not. But any combination of 2 cards from this should be fine. Okay, they give us Walking Ballista, and they give us Wormcoil. So the question is, which one do we play? Bloodghast does not have haste, so we could actually, like, pre-combat or pre-damage snipe them. We can already block 2 of them. My opponent might have a way to kill their own Bloodghast at instant speed, or kill their own creature at instant speed, so Wormcoil may not be the safe option. I'm going to play the Wormcoil, because if I can just play a huge Ballista, I think that wins me the game next turn. Let's see if I regret this. The only way I can imagine regretting this is if my opponent somehow has lethal with like a Conflagrate or something out of the grave. They could have like a Rally the Peasants or something, and then we might be completely screwed. Or what is that card? Scourge Devils? So opponents on their draw step, they're debating about dredging. They only have 10 cards left in their library. They do not dredge. Okay, opponent is attacking for 2. They play an Arid Mesa. They might be playing an Ox, just in an attempt to draw. Like, they could be playing to another out, which is something like... I think it would have to be something like another Conflagrate, at which point they would need to dredge Loam off of an Ox here and try to refill their hand. So opponent plays the Ox. I think they dredged a couple of small dredgers. They crack Arid Mesa. They do find a Stomping Ground. They shock to 14. And they play another Ox, discarding Ox, Prized Amalgam, and Copperline Gorge. Okay, we untap. We draw Condescend. So play Riverglide Pathway. I have a couple of options. I can play out a big Walking Ballista, and I'm not sure my opponent can beat that. They definitely cannot get enough cards in hand for Conflagrate to be lethal. I think if I just play a big Ballista, they can't do anything about it. And if I'm really scared, I can leave up Condescend X2 and repeal X2. So let's go ahead and do this. We can block something and kill 4 Bloodghasts. Question is, do we attack with the big Wormcoil engine? I don't think so, not with Ballista on board. Because Ballista we can just snipe down like all of their guys. Anything we're worried about. Opponent draws a card, they go to combat, and they are attacking with the team. So Wormcoil block here, block, block, block. Then we kill a bunch of Bloodghasts. I could repeal Walking Ballista, and we take 4 and we gain 9. Or I can play the ultra safe play, kill off this Bloodghast to... I think I'm going to go with that. I like doing this and having Condescend. I just want to make sure that I'm not going to get completely screwed by a crazy Conflagrate or something. I think that was kind of a desperation attack. Yeah, my opponent can play a land and get a whole bunch of stuff back. It'll be slightly upsetting if I actually needed to attack. Okay. Tons of Prized Amalgam triggers. They get back 2 Amalgams. Well, they got back 3. We have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. If I draw a Tron land, I can attack with Wormcoil, repeal Wormcoil, and play it again. But I think I'm just going to repeal a Bloodghast to get a draw. They can't recast Bloodghast. Okay, we untap. We draw an Urza's Mine. Play an Urza's Mine. My opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 19, 22 damage on board. I think I attack and then leave up Condescend. I think Dredge actually has something that can prevent creatures from blocking in it. So I'm going to do this just to try and be safe. If my opponent has any further damage out of hand, we should be able to counter it. Okay, opponent loams back some lands. Sure. They shock Blood Crypt. Oh, it's going to be a Creeping Chill. Okay. Big attack. No blocks. We go to 4. They Creeping Chill us. And we will counter. Nice. Alright, well, that worked better than anticipated. I think I want Aether Gust. I don't want Remand. I'll bring in Pyroclasms over Remand and a Condescend. I don't know how good Pyroclasm is in this matchup. This might be better as a... not a Fire Spout, but actually Fire Spout might be the only single red 3 damage one. Yeah, I don't think there's any other 3 damage red Wrath that isn't double red. Pyroclasm might be what we have to use here. We'll see what happens. All I know is Wormcoil did a ton of work. This hand is less good. I don't think we're going to be condescending a lot. I'm actually going to mulligan. Okay, I can work with this. I wish we had a pathway to have the option of playing Lightning Bolt, but opponent also mulligan to 6, and they're going to start with a Blood Crypt Shock into a Shriekhorn. We will play Power Plant, pass the turn. Wormcoil is nice. We just have to draw a tower to play Wormcoil. Opponent mills themselves, milling Arid Mesa and Forgotten Cave on the first mill. Second mill is Bloodghast and Blood Crypt. Opponent will have to play a land in order to play anything else this turn. So they play a land and reanimate Bloodghast. 2 mana, Cathartic Reunion, pitching Life from the Loam and Dakmor Salvage. Milling a bunch of lands, milling more lands into a Thug, and then a Prized Amalgam. Okay. We untap, we draw Karn. Players is mine, pass the turn. Opponent did mill a Nature's Claim. I'm kind of wondering what the odds of them having a Ancient Grudge is. They mill a Shriekhorn and a Stomping Ground, and they dredge, I think it's Loam that they just dredged. They play Dakmor Salvage, reanimate Bloodghast, which does give them access to their Prized Amalgam. They hardcast Golgari Thug, hitting us for 2. They get back Amalgam, we untap and draw another Power Plant. Play an island, pass the turn. I will be repealing something this turn. Probably a Bloodghast, just to maximize damage reduction. Thug is easier for them to get into the grave from their hand than it is to get into the grave from the battlefield, so... Okay, no blocks. Repeal Bloodghast. We get another Wormcoil. Well, if we can get Tron, if we can draw that Urza's Tower, these Wormcoils are going to be great. We can play Karn next turn, although I don't think that helps very much. We can't really wish for anything too damaging. I guess I could get a Relic and nuke the grave, and that's like almost all of their mana-producing lands. Well, I can't nuke the grave immediately, because Karn would not... Okay, opponent pitches Conflagrate. That is a little bit scary. We know our opponent has Loam. They just don't have any green mana yet. They haggle. No dredge in the grave. I think they're just trying to draw green mana. So let's see what they discard. They discard Loam. They dredge Loam. Creeping Chill us down to 9. That means the Bloodghast out of hand will do more damage. We do not draw a tower. So they are representing 8 damage next turn, just with what we know about. And if they have a land, we die. We do not have red mana for Bolt, which could save us. So I'm going to play a Power Plant. I'm going to play Karn, Great Creator. And I'm going to wish for... Bridge doesn't do anything. I guess I wish for Platinum Angel. Actually, do I have a Platinum Empyrean in the sideboard, or Platinum Angel? If I had been able to get a Platinum Empyrean, that would be better. Because Platinum Angel dies to Conflagrate, Platinum Empyrean is much less likely to die to Conflagrate. We're probably dead here, though. Oh, opponent can do 4 damage with Conflagrate. Yeah, we're dead. I just didn't math that out properly. Okay, we get hit for lethal. Okay. Last game. That was kind of awkward not having red mana. Yeah, run it back. Alright, we'll play first. This could be very good, or this could be very bad. I think I'm going to keep it, just because multiple pieces of Tron here is very good. Like, we have everything we basically could want. If my opponent has another stumbling start, this, like, Thirst for Knowledge could be all we need to get to where we need to go. Okay. Pass the turn. If we rip a tower off the top, we are good to go. Opponent flips into a Narcomoeba. Okay. And a second Narcomoeba. That's actually kind of good. Because it means they missed their first turn dredge, as well as they don't have Narcomoebas to reanimate prized amalgams with. They pitch Golgari Thug and they dredge it, finding a life from the loam. Okay, they attack us for 1. This might be just slow enough for us to get going here. Play an island, pass the turn. We are going to Thirst for Knowledge. And we'll probably end up pitching Mindslaver when it mills into another Narcomoeba, as well as a Stinkweed Imp. So they dredge probably Stinkweed? I wouldn't be surprised if they dredged Loam, though. They dredged Loam because they did not hit a land drop. They did find a Bloodghast. Okay, they loam. They play an Arid Mesa, get back a Bloodghast, go to combat, and they attack us for 2. Okay, no blocks. Thirst for Knowledge. We draw the wrong Tron land and a Platinum Angel. We're going to discard an artifact, and it's going to be Mindslaver. We untap, draw an island. So play Treasure Mage. We will use its ability, and we are going to get Wormcoil Engine because our opponent does have an Ancient Grudge in the grave. We are going to play Lava Glide Pathway to have access to Lightning Bolt. Okay. Opponent cracks Arid Mesa, finds a Blood Crypt tapped, and passes turn. They untap, they dredge, only a Bloodghast in the grave. So they play Wooded Foothills and reanimate Bloodghast. And they play Merchant of the Veil out of hand. Go to combat. They attack. I think I'm fine blocking Bloodghast, and I think I'm going to bolt Merchant of the Veil. We're going to take 3 here. Okay, we untap. We draw Engineered Explosives. And now is a great Engineered Explosives draw. We're going to play Power Plant. Put Explosives on 2. That, like, also made our Lightning Bolt way better. Because had I bolted one of the Narcomoebas to just try and prevent a little bit of damage, they would still have the 3-drop on board. And I kind of even forgot we were playing Engineered Explosives. I did see it a couple of times when we tutored with Trinket Mage and stuff, but I didn't actually think about we were going to top deck it. It was just an amazing top deck. Okay. So my opponent untaps. They dredge into a Narcomoeba, which does give them a prized Amalgam. My opponent should attack and then reanimate their Bloodghasts and prized Amalgam. But this is a pretty good fog here. I'm surprised. I guess they knew that they didn't really need to crack Ancient Grudge. So opponent can play a land, get their Bloodghasts back, as well as they're going to get their Amalgam on the end step. We're starting to get up into the life total that it's going to matter. So if we play Wormcoil, they can grudge it. I guess it depends on what they have in hand. They're playing an Ox. Okay. Okay, big dredge, and big dredge. 3 Creeping Chills, or 2 Creeping Chills here actually really sucks. Because now Bloodghasts have haste. We untap. We draw a River Glide Pathway, so I can play Wormcoil Engine, and I can block Ox, but then they can just Ancient Grudge it, and we don't gain life. They definitely have a land, and they're going to have 2 more Bloodghasts. That's really our only play, though. We would have to... Let's see. Yeah, they're representing more than lethal damage here. Pyroclasm here actually would have been pretty good, because they didn't dredge that Ox out. They actually played it. So, play an island, but I guess technically we're dead. I'm going to play it out, but we'll play Wormcoil Engine, and my opponent will just grudge it on blocks, I think. Okay, so opponent's turn. They draw and dredge something that dredges 5, so Stinkweed. They loam. If they're holding Conflagrate, we're also dead for a variety of reasons. Variety? I actually think that with 2 Bloodghasts, I forgot about the second prized Amalgam. That's actually lethal on board. So I block Ox, take 10, or take 12, I think. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 14. Yeah, we take exactly lethal, even if we didn't get grudged. So it's kind of unfortunate. But we didn't have map, and we didn't get Tron. So, I mean, you know, what can you do? I think that that was winnable, and if I had more experience with this deck, I probably would have done a little bit better. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we do in game 3 here, or round 3, excuse me. I'm gonna mulligan. This hand is like... Actually, I think this hand is kind of good. I'm going to put back Platinum Angel, and we're going to start Urza's Mine Expedition map. My opponent mulliganed to 5, which is good news. Botanical Sanctum. Okay, there's only 2 decks my opponent could be. My opponent is either Infect. I don't know why I didn't play out map. My opponent is either Infect, or they're the Grizzlebrand Reanimator, which... Neo Brand, I think it's called. Yeah, they're definitely Neo Brand. So we're gonna have to wait a few turns to play this map now that I did what I did. I'm not sure we have that much game against my opponent's deck. Okay. Interesting that they're playing Turn Timber. We drew Thirst for Knowledge, which I think also means I'm not playing Expedition Map. I definitely should have it on board. There was no reason not to play it, so that was actually kind of a big punt. But it wouldn't be a Kano video if we didn't have a punt or two now and then. And besides, now I have an artifact I can discard to Thirst for Knowledge on my opponent's end step. So my opponent is going to go Summoner's Pact for Allosaurus Rider. They cast Allosaurus Rider, pitching Eldritch Evolution and Noxious Revival. Okay. So the last two cards in hand need to be Pact of Negation and Neoform. Alright. Counter unless they pay 2. Main deck Veil of Summer. Yo. I didn't think this deck could get any better, and then I totally forgot that Veil of Summer was a card, which is basically a Pact of Negation for them that can be pitched to Allosaurus Rider. That's just crazy bonkers. Like, absolutely crazy bonkers. So this is my opponent's turn 4. Even if they fizzle, as long as they can get a 4th mana source, they can pay for the Pact, though I doubt they're even going to fizzle. Yeah, I think they got me. Man. My opponent has 6 cards left in their deck. So it looks like Labman into activate Grizzlebrand. Yep. Jeez. Okay. Well, I don't know if there's much we can do about this. I will bring in Aether Gust, as that doesn't technically counter. I don't know that Lightning Bolt is going to be good. It can kill Labman, and it might actually be better than like a counter spell, Lightning Bolt, I mean. I'm going to cut a Condescend for that Aether Gust, and we are going to run it back. You know what? I'm going to leave Condescend in, and I'm going to drop a Worm Coil, because we don't really need threats. We just need to stop our opponent from comboing. If they don't combo, we should win the game. Okay, we will play first. Natural Tron, but we don't have Trinisphere. We could Sorcerer's Spyglass on Grizzlebrand. Or Worm Coil Engine. Or not Worm Coil Engine, we could, like, Liquid Metal Coating them. I mean, we'll try it. No interaction hand, let's go. Versus the turn 2 combo deck. I don't think that, like, mulliganing to a hand that has our Singleton Aether Gust is correct. Though I would feel really, really good if we did have Aether Gust in this hand. I think I just gotta go for it. Like, I really wish that we had Trinisphere, because I could like wish for Trinisphere, and then my opponent's combo would not be like possible to play without first Nature's Claiming. All right, start mine, pass the turn. I dislike the fact that Veil is like good enough to be main decked in a deck like this. That is gross. Are we getting turn 1? Am I getting turn 1? Is this double Simian Spirit Guide, Manamorphose into blue-green, play Allosaurus Rider, kill me on turn 1, the legendary turn 1? Oh no. Oh my god. Dude! The legendary turn 1. And like, what is the, like, you know, even if they don't have a Nourishing Shoal and a... Oh, I guess they would die to Summoner's Pact. So like, it's possible for them to fizzle, technically, but they also just drew 14 cards. So, not likely. Do you or don't you have it? I know it's tough scrolling back and forth on Moto's interface, so I'm not going to get too mad at you for taking slow. Like, I used to be an ad nauseum player, I get it. I get it, foo. I mean, if they don't have it, I'm going to call this the stare-down victory. Literally, my force of will will have beaten them if they die to their own pact. But my luck is they played the Rainbow Land so that they can Angel's Grace next turn and then just combo off anyway. Ugh. Disgusting. Oh, never mind. Never mind. There's just a huge pause to look for that, I guess. Okay. Opponent can now draw 14 more cards. Oh my gosh. It's disgusting. Opponent, this is nasty. It's gross. It's vile. It's atrocious. It's everything the modern format aspires to be. Can you still win? You used 2 Simian Spirit Guides. If you have a Desperate Ritual, I suppose you can. Or, if you have Spirit Guide, Manamorphose, Thassa's Oracle, you can also win that way. You know, back in my day, playing Modern, we had to actually work for our combos. I played oh, what was it? Protean Hulk to get a combo like this, where you through the breach Protean Hulk, you get Lost Auramancers, and you get Vampire Hexmage, and then you what is it? You sack Vampire Hexmage, sack Lost Auramancers, tutor up Omniscience, put Omniscience into play, play Borborygmos from your hand enraged, or no, then you play Enter the Infinite. You draw your entire deck, you put back Emrakul, and you cast Release the Ants 30 times to kill your opponent. Alright, we untap. Condescend, baby! Gonna get him with the Force Spike. Let's see it. Pay 4 or lose the game. Yeah, that's right. You get out of here with that turn 1 combo. BS. Okay. We're going to mulligan this hand. Okay, we have a hand with Aether Gust, but only 1 land. We have 25 lands in the deck. If we draw a land, Aether Gust is actually really good. Given that we're on the draw, I think I am going to keep this, because this is really the only spell in our deck that has a chance of winning the game for us. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. My opponent just revealed 2 Chancellor of the Tangles. I'm dying this turn, aren't I? Oh my gosh. Yep, this is happening. Allosaurus Rider probably pitches the 2 Chancellor of the Tangles. Yep. Wow. There it is. So we'll see what happens, I guess. I mean, my opponent could fizzle. It's not likely at this point, because they didn't have to use all of their Simian Spirit Guides to go off. Ah, man. So I'll, I guess, continue commentating when I die. Alright, they got there. I will see you all in round 4. I think this is a fine opener to keep. Alright. Opponent starts Verdant Catacombs. Passes. We draw Remand. Starters is tower. Pass the turn. Okay. Alright, another Tron piece. That's always nice. Pass the turn. Leave up Remand/Condescend. This is either Jund, who's missing red mana that really needs it, or like some kind of weird rock deck. Could be like Death Cloud, I guess. 4 mana, 3 mana. I have no idea what's happening right now. Liliana of the Veil. I think I'm going to Condescend, because remanding here would not be good if my opponent has like a 3 mana and a 2 mana follow-up play next turn. I think this is our best chance to get value out of Condescend. Alright. 1 Urza's Mine to the bottom, 1 on top. Play Urza's Mine, pass the turn. I guess playing a big Walking Ballista there was probably fair. Especially because Remand is not that great of a play this turn, I think. Garruk Wildspeaker. Oh my gosh, is this Death Cloud? This might be Death Cloud. The only time I've ever seen Liliana and Garruk in the same deck, it was Death Cloud. We draw Platinum Angel. I want to play a Lava Glide Pathway and a Mirror Battlesphere this turn. So sideboard versus Death Cloud. I guess we bring in Aether Gust. They do play a couple of green cards. You know, I don't even think Aether Gust is good. I don't think we have a sideboard. I just run it back. Okay, I guess we win the match. Not sure what that's about. But I'll see you guys in round 5. Alrighty, round 5. Here we go. I think this hand is good. We should be able to make a decision about whether we want to have Bolt or have Condescend here. Alright, so my opponent is on some kind of Izzet deck. It may be Storm. If it is Storm, we're probably going to have a bad time. Alright, second Serum Visions here. Okay, they are at least 3 colors. So this could be Uro, it could be Control, and we just drew the last Tron piece. If they're Control, I want to play out the River Glide pathway as a River Glide pathway and leave up Condescend. I think that's my best option. This is kind of awkward because it makes Lightning Bolt a completely dead card in our hand for what could potentially be a very long time. Valakut Stoneforge. Okay, this is definitely Control. I think I made the right call. So crack Expedition Map on their end step. They have a Tail's End? Okay. That's actually fine because we're already holding Tron. Players is mine, pass the turn. Second Condescend's also kind of nice. 3 mana, opponent plays a Blood Sun. That seems threatening. So we'll counter that. Remand, Island, Remand to the bottom, I think. Island also to the bottom. Opponent plays a Lotus Field. Oh, are they a combo deck? Because they could totally be a combo deck. Alright, well I guess we play out Wormcoil Engine. If this is like Twiddle Storm, we're probably screwed. Blood Sun into Lotus Field, though, that's pretty dirty. I mean, it would no longer have hexproof, but it would enter the battlefield untapped and tap for 3 mana. Alright, well we resolved a Wormcoil, we untap and draw Repeal. Go to combat, attack for 6. Gain 6, pass the turn, leave up Condescend. Opponent is going to Cryptic our blue mana to hand and draw. I may as well just Condescend to this, because I'm not going to be able to Condescend on my opponent's turn. Thirst for Knowledge to the bottom, Expedition Map to the bottom, I think. Kind of want another counterspell, even if it is a remand at this point. Alright, we got there. Not quite sure how we did, but we did. Alright, no sideboard, run it back. Not having a sideboard in so many situations is really kind of like stressing me out. Alright, game 2. Well, it's Fast Tron along with Remand Condescend. This is, I think, the ideal situation here. Okay. Well, we drew the Tron lands. I wonder how Blood Sun interacts with the Tron lands, actually. It may not even stop them. Alright, well we get Cleansing Wildfired. We untap, we draw Lightning Bolt. So play Power Plant, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Lotus Field, sacks Flagstones, that's pretty sweet. But they're not doing anything with the mana. Okay. So we'll go get Urza's Mine. Untap. Play Mine. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent plays a Spire Bluff Canal. That's also another sweet card to have if you're going to be sacking your own lands. My opponent has 5 mana right now. They play a Serum Visions. Like, this is a weird board to look at and know my opponent has Cryptic mana. I don't know if they're gonna... Oh gosh, what's happening? Snapcaster Mage for Cleansing Wildfire, I think is what is happening. I could Condescend X2, and that would counter it. But I could also just remand the Cleansing Wildfire out of the grave. I think that's better. Yeah, so we'll remand that, because it still gets exiled. Then we untap, we draw Ugin. And this should be a pretty sweet follow-up. Oh my gosh. Okay. Uptick Ugin to kill Snapcaster, pass the turn. And we are shields down for a turn if my opponent has some crazy follow-up. I think they're control, so if they have like 5 mana to Teferi, they could completely take us out. Yep. Down ticking on Ugin. Upticking is also sweet. So they put Ugin back in our deck. We untap. We draw Repeal. Play Lava Glide Pathway. Bolt Teferi. This is one of the weirdest games of my life for multiple reasons. Cleansing Wildfire. So let's do counter unless you play 4. Wormcoil to the bottom, Ugin to the top. Maybe I should have kept Wormcoil. Opponent passes, we untap, we draw Ugin. Play Power Plant. Play Ugin. And if they've got a counterspell, they've got a counterspell. With as many tap lands as they're playing, it's kind of weird that they're playing those. Okay, so that kind of sucks a lot. There's not a lot we can do about it, so... Okay, opponent plays a Serum Visions. At least they don't immediately have another big threat to follow up with. That'd make me feel bad. I should have kept the Worm Coil, because if I cast the Worm Coil, we would have gotten around the Tail's End we already knew about. You have to forgive me for getting distracted with something else. Okay, we draw Gifts Ungiven. That's nice. I could go for a Gifts play right now. We would still have a lot of mana to follow up with. I think that's fair. Let's just get a pile of threats and then cast something. My opponent could counter this too if they have like a Cryptic Command. Okay. What you got, opponent? I should not be auto-yielding. I have an instant. And I could cast it, and it could be very relevant. What did my opponent exile? The Serum Visions. They exiled the Force of Negation. Okay. Opponent plays a Narset, Parter of Veils. That is what we would call annoying. I'm going to repeal in response to the ability, because they shouldn't be able to recast it this turn. But I want to try and get this done before they would have a counterspell. This is also the only time that we can potentially get that repeal in motion. Like, I don't know what I'm saying right now. Okay, my opponent now has a Cryptic Command. So we need to draw something we can play this turn. Nope. Play Academy Ruins, pass the turn. See, now here if I had had a Worm Coil that like didn't get pathed or something, we would be able to buy it back. Wow, I played that terribly. I mean, I didn't know about the Tail's End. I just should have assumed that that was what my opponent was playing. And they are playing a strange Jeskai list. I definitely should have waited till the end step to repeal, in case my opponent picked up a cantrip and wanted to play it, but I don't think it matters too much. Like, we're still in a we have to top deck something really good position, and my opponent now has a Cryptic and a Tail's End in hand. We're not under any pressure yet, which is good. It's just like I kind of like fired off too fast here. Okay, Snapcaster for Cleansing Wildfire is pretty bad. I'm not going to put Expedition Map on top of my deck. I think that would be very dumb. They want to get rid of Academy Ruins. That's fair. Get an island. They pass to our turn. We draw Condescend, play an island, pass the turn. Condescend is at least nice. Okay, they hit us for 2. And it looks like Snappy Beats is where we're going here. We're going to play Karn. Problem is they have Cryptic and Tail's End mana. Okay, so my opponent Cryptics. We are going to Condescend. Because they shouldn't be able to counter Condescend. And that'll at least help us set up our next couple of draws, maybe. Okay, they Tail's End Karn. That's fine. We still get the scries off of Cryptic Command being countered, though, which is nice. Both of these cards we want to put to the bottom. We don't want to draw either of those. So we got both of the counter spells we know of out of our opponent's hand, and we just made sure we did not hit either, or 2 dead draws, basically. Now this is bad if my opponent has another Cleansing Wildfire. Okay, Blood Sun. This is a very strange control deck, and I would be lying if I told you I didn't like what I see. So we'll play Platinum Angel. Cryptic Command, bouncing, Narset. Oh no! I'm losing and I deserve this. This deck is awesome. Oh man, I wonder if there's a list somewhere. If not, we need to be like playing this out as much as possible to get a good idea of what our opponent was playing. But if anybody watching knows what deck my opponent's playing or slash has a list, I'd really like to see it, because I think it's awesome. Okay, so they're playing Shark Typhoon as a win condition. They get in for 2, we untap. We draw Gifts Ungiven. Oops. So let's go ahead and play Gifts Ungiven. This should force them to have a counterspell, and we know one of the cards in their hand is not a counterspell. Okay? How much mana do we have left over? We have 10 mana. So let's get Mindslaver, Karn, and maybe Treasure Mage and Trinket Mage. I like how I really like how this deck is set up, because when you gifts, you can kind of hide what you're gifting for with enough mana with Treasure and Trinket Mage. At first, when I saw this list, I was worried because of so many one-ofs. But like Gifts Ungiven, I really like that interaction. I know it's kind of like a minor one, but it's still really sweet. So my opponent almost certainly is going to put Mindslaver in the grave. And if I was my opponent, I would probably put Mindslaver Karn into the grave. We are going to try and play Karn. Another Tail's End. So this card is good enough to be run as a 4 of in this list, probably because it counters the Lotus Field ability. Alright. Trinket Mage, we're going to go get Walking Ballista, and we're not going to play it this turn. Okay, opponent had a Lightning Bolt. One card left in our opponent's hand. They draw. They downtick Narset, and what do they find? Okay, so they're still holding Shark Typhoon, obviously. That's the card that's in their hand. But as long as they don't hit a counter spell that hits Walking Ballista, we should be fine. Cleansing Wildfire on Tower. That is annoying, but it's not the end of the world. So my opponent Valakut Awakeninged, and they put like everything back with Valakut Awakening. Okay, we untap. We draw Expedition Map. So play map. Crack map. Get Tower. Play Tower. And then we're going to play a big Ballista. I don't know if I want to play around Mana Leak. So we're just going to try and... Watch me walk into a sensor. Alright. So we kill Snap. And we kill Narset. Pass the turn. And life is now slightly okay again. Okay, so opponent plays a Blood Sun. Valakut Awakenings again. They draw 3 cards, so they put back 2. So this is a whole new hand they have. They play a land. And they pass. We untap. We draw Battle Ball. So go to combat. Attack for 4. Play Battle Ball. It resolves. Get a bunch of tokens. And pass. Opponent untaps. Nexus of Fate. Okay. Not a card I anticipated my opponent playing, but one that they can play, yes. Is this an infinite Nexus of Fate deck? Like, is this Shark Turns control? Because I want to play this deck. 5 mana for Teferi. Okay. Ping Teferi. We're going to put on a counter. And put on another counter. Ping our opponent a few times. It's scary because they still have Nexus of Fate mana. And if they have Nexus of Fate again, that's also scary. Alright. Put it back in the deck. Opponent passes to us, we draw. Thirst for Knowledge. So, go to combat. I think my opponent has Snapcaster for Cryptic. So let's Thirst for Knowledge. We discard Walking Ballista. Yep, go ahead. Condescend was an amazing draw. Alright, it's a Cryptic. Go ahead and cast your Cryptic. Big Condescend. I actually think I should have countered the Snapcaster there. I think that was actually incorrect. I think as, like, big-brained as I felt when I cast that, which was pretty big-brained, I completely messed that up. Because if I had countered the Snapcaster, we could have just attacked and killed them. Oh my gosh, Kano, what is wrong with you? I, like, lost any and all game I had going on today. So opponent goes to 6, they just chump. I should have countered the Snapcaster. We should have won there. Alright, opponent gets 1 draw. Or they get N draws, where N is as many times as they draw Nexus of Fate. We draw a Power Plant, go to combat. Did they draw another Cryptic? Oh my gosh. What is that? How many Cryptics is that? 1? There's 1 in exile. Okay. Go to second main, play Power Plant. Oh my gosh, if I lose this, I absolutely deserve to lose this. Oh, I deserve to lose this so hard. Oh, never punished. Never punished at all. Well, Devin, I hope you enjoyed that we did in fact 3-2 with your list. I'm gonna open this treasure chest. And we get 5 play points and a full art promo command tower. Which might be worth something. Sometimes the promos that are extended art are worth something on Moto. It does not appear that this is worth anything on Moto, unfortunately. But still a cool card, one that I would play in any commander deck that I play on Moto. So, some thoughts about the deck really quick. I like that this plays a lot of islands, in addition to the Riverglide pathways. While Riverglide pathway is good, and it makes access to red mana very easy for Lightning Bolt, there are plenty of times where it's like, oh, we want both red mana and blue mana. So how do we accomplish this? Is it better to get blue or is it better to get red? That was something that I found myself asking a ton of times versus the Dredge deck. I was like, I don't know. I want red mana, but I also need blue mana because I need this other thing. And yeah, but the Lightning Bolt was really helpful in a couple of matchups. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have won a couple of them without Lightning Bolt. This deck felt like it had game even against a few of the decks we lost to, except the turn 1 combo. Nothing beats that except Aether Gust. That brings me to the second point. The other thing about this deck is I don't know that I like Pyroclasm in the side at all. It does not, we didn't run up against anything that it was really good against. It could be argued that maybe it's good against Mono Red, or it could be good against, Heliod Company or Devoted Devastation, and we just didn't run into that, and that's fine. But this deck could be tuned for a different meta than Moto's meta. I would probably drop a Ceremonious Rejection and a Pyroclasm to run 2 Aether Gusts. I think Aether Gust is a more important spell than Ceremonious Rejection is. We have a ton of counter spells that would be good versus an opposing Tron player, that I don't think we need Ceremonious Rejection. If we still wanted to have a red sweeper effect, I think Pyroclasm is okay. In the theoretical sideboard swap that I just mentioned, we would drop the remaining Ceremonious Rejections for Pyroclasms. Gifts Ungiven was really, really sick in this deck, despite being just a value spell. It was just a draw spell. But, it always got what we needed, which I thought was really, really cool. Other than that, besides, even with me punting as hard as I would, as hard as I can and still make a video, even with me punting that hard, we still came out on top pretty frequently. I'm not sure that, I think the Death Cloud player was just frustrated because there was no way for them to beat a bunch of, hard counter spells, which we have Condescends and we have, Remands and stuff. Remand not necessarily being a hard counter spell. Repeal plus Walking Ballista was also super sick. That's something I'm going to have to do way more often when I'm playing Blue Tron, because that won us a match, I'm 99% certain. Platinum Angel is a little bit awkward. Platinum Empyrean, I understand. Platinum Angel is a little bit awkward because it is small enough that it can die to damage removal. And versus something like the Goryo's, or not the Goryo's deck, the Grizzlebrand deck. Versus something like the Grizzlebrand deck, playing out a Platinum Angel, can win you the game because they can't beat it with their, they can't beat it by just winning the game. I like that Platinum Angel and Platinum Empyrean are in this deck. I just think Platinum Angel is slightly more awkward. I don't know how I feel about a Platinum Angel in the main deck and a Platinum Angel in the sideboard. I think that might be a little overkill. And I kind of would like to reclaim a couple more sideboard slots, especially for playing Karn. I was really worried that we didn't max out on Karns, that we didn't have 4 of them. And I kind of still feel like playing 4 Karns is correct. I would consider dropping the Platinum Angel out of the main deck if I want to keep the one in the side, to play a 3rd Karn, and maybe going down to 3 bolts. We're not going to be using Bolt as a way to close out the game, most likely, so I don't think we need to max out on the full 4. And I think that's enough rambling for now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you want to see more Izzet Tron, please leave a like, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you are so inclined. It'd mean the world to me if you did. You can also follow me on Twitch, same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, though the last few have been earlier than that time they've started. Still has been a good time. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!